This morning, October 14th, 2025, the neo-soul world, and everyone who's ever felt the pull of those velvet vocals, woke to a profound loss. D'Angelo, the enigmatic genius behind Brown Sugar and Voodoo, has passed away at the heartbreakingly young age of 51. Reports from close sources and industry insiders confirm he succumbed to pancreatic cancer after a fiercely private battle, slipping away in New York surrounded by the quiet strength of his loved ones. It was a fight he kept close to the chest, much like so much of his life. No grand announcements, just the same introspective fire that fueled his music, even as he teased new work just months ago. You can almost picture him in those final moments, perhaps with a guitar in reach, humming a half-formed riff as the weight lifted, his voice raw, revelatory, forever young, fading into the ether like the last notes of Untitled. How does it feel? It's crushing, truly. D'Angelo wasn't just a singer. He was a sonic alchemist, turning gospel roots and hip-hop heart into a movement that reshaped R&B for a generation. At 51, with whispers of an album in the works and a legacy that inspired everyone from Frank Ocean to her, his departure feels like an unfinished verse, leaving fans and collaborators reeling in a wave of tributes from DJ Premier's Heartbroken. Such a sad loss to Tyler, the creator's silent black and white homage. But in the ache of this abrupt interlude, there's a call to lean into his light, to crank up Black Messiah and let the bass remind us how one man's quiet rebellion could move mountains. Let's step back from the silence, shall we? Let's trace the boy from Richmond who turned church pews into platinum prayers, because D'Angelo's story wasn't one of endings. It was an eternal echo, soulful and unyielding. Born Michael Eugene Archer on February 11, 1974, in the humid heart of Richmond, Virginia, a city still shadowed by its Confederate ghosts, but pulsing with the underground hum of Black creativity. D'Angelo grew up in a Pentecostal home where music wasn't just art, it was absolution. His father, Luther Archer Sr., was a preacher whose sermons thundered like James Brown breakdowns, and his mother, Mary Ann Smith, a pillar of quiet devotion who filled the house with gospel records that young Michael would mimic on the family piano by age 3. His tiny fingers picking out Marvin Gaye's "Let's Get It On" before he could tie his shoes. As one of 9 siblings in a tight-knit clan, brothers and sisters who'd later form the backbone of his early bands, he was the prodigy, skipping school to sneak into local jazz clubs, his ears drinking deep from the well of Al Green's Ache and Sly Stone's Funk, all while his dad's ministry drilled in the discipline of divine timing. Richmond wasn't an easy cradle. The Archers scraped by in South Richmond's working-class weave, where Sunday services at the family church doubled as jam sessions, and Michael's first gig was accompanying hymns at 10, his voice already carrying that husky, heaven-sent timbre that would one day hush arenas. High school at Huguenot was a blur of rebellion and revelation. He dropped out at 18, trading textbooks for turntables, forming the short-lived hip-hop crew IDU, intelligent, deadly but unique, with brother Luther Jr. producing beats that caught the ear of Afropunk co-founder Jocelyn Cooper in 1991. She signed him to her Midnight Songs imprint under Universal, whisking the teen to New York where he'd bunk with Raphael Saadiq and Angie Stone, co-writing You Will Know for the R&B supergroup Black Men United, a 1994 Jason's lyric soundtrack smash that introduced his velvet growl to the world. EMI came calling next, and Brown Sugar dropped in 1995 like a revelation, a platinum-certified ode to sensuality and soul, with Lady and the title track climbing charts while critics crowned him the heir to Prince and Marvin. His guitar licks and layered harmonies birthing neo-soul from the ashes of 80s excess. Voodoo followed in 2000, a darker, denser masterpiece that debuted at #1. Its 11-minute, Untitled, How Does It Feel? Video, a shadowy silhouette of his bare torso, cementing his sex symbol status amid Grammy Gold for Best R&B Album. But fame's glare burned bright. A 14-year hiatus gripped him, marked by label battles, creative droughts, and personal tempests, until Black Messiah erupted in 2014 as a surprise drop, its politically charged funk, The Charade, a Black Lives Matter anthem before the fact, earning universal acclaim and another Grammy nod. Collaborations kept the flame flickering: Questlove's Roots, Jay-Z's Blueprint, even a 2024 feature on the Book of Clarence soundtrack with HOV on I Want You Forever, while Raphael Saadiq teased a companion piece album in September. D'Angelo's reclusive genius still simmering. At 51, he wasn't chasing spotlights, he was crafting codas, from Richmond revivals to global reveries, proving neo-soul soul runs deeper than trends. Through the haze of hiatuses and headlines, though, it was family that grounded D'Angelo's orbit, the Pentecostal pulse that kept his heart from the rock and roll wreckage, even as the public glimpsed only fragments of his private refrain. He never married, choosing the solitude of the studio over the sacrament, but his bonds ran deep and devoted Luther Sr. and Marianne the First fans, their church a cradle where gospel drills turned into family sing-alongs. Siblings like Luther Jr., early collaborators who'd back him on demos before the deals. Fatherhood came in waves. His eldest son, Mikey Archer II, born in 1998 to ex-partner Angie Stone, the soul singer whose own tragic passing in a car accident earlier this year left Mikey orphaned within months. A double blow that's shattered the community and amplified prayers for the young man now navigating loss alone. A daughter arrived in 1999, her mother kept from the glare, followed by another son in 2010, both shielded like sacred tracks, D'Angelo's rare interviews touching on them with that soft reverence. They're my anchors, teaching me rhythms I can't notate. No sprawling reunions in the rags, just quiet visitations, holidays in Richmond with Marianne's cooking, collards and cornbread, the soul food that fueled his funk, birthdays marked by private jam sessions where Mikey might strum guitar like Dad, or the kids curling up to brown sugar B-sides. Extended kin woven too, aunts and uncles from the Archer preacher line, their Pentecostal fire a filter for fame's temptations, helping him sidestep the 90s pitfalls that snared peers. Losses etched deeper, Angie's death a fresh wound, his own battles with addiction in the 2000s pulling him to rehab in Antigua, but family was the remix that mended, Mikey's resilience a mirror of his father's. The younger one's his unspoken muse for Black Messiah's tender turns. It wasn't tabloid tapestry, it was tender ties, the kind where a father's falsetto lulls over FaceTime, proving love's the truest track, looping eternal even in silence. That love laced his lifestyle too, a reclusive rhythm of raw creativity and rooted restraint that felt as intimate as an after-hours session, nomadic yet nestled, where the hum of a home studio outshone the haze of Hollywood. D'Angelo split time between a low-key Richmond pad, his childhood cities pull a constant, a modest brick house with walls echoing family photos and vinyl stacks, and a New York creative nook for collabs, spaces less mansion and more sanctuary. Exposed brick hiding a Fender Rhodes electric piano scarred from late-night licks, a kitchen corner for his mom's recipes, greens simmered slow, no frills, and a balcony overlooking the James River for those reflective Richmond sunsets that sparked Voodoo's depths. No entourages or excess. His net worth hovered around $1 to $2 million at the end, a humble haul from Brown Sugar's platinum royalties, over 3 million sold, Voodoo's #1 reign, and Black Messiah's surprise surge, plus sparse features like that Jay-Z team-up. Invested back into family trusts and quiet studio upgrades, not fleets of whips. Mornings unfolded unhurried, black coffee and scripture from his Pentecostal roots, a daily devotion that dodged the decade's darker drifts, fingers warming on keys with Hendrix riffs or gospel runs, his multi-instrumentalist magic, bass, drums, guitar all in one, turning solitude into symphonies. Afternoons? Jam circles with the Vanguard crew, Questlove on drums, Pino Palladino on bass, holed up in Electric Lady Studios, the Jimi Hendrix haunt where voodoo brewed, or solo scribbles inspired by a drive through Richmond streets, his Prius, practical, understated, the chariot for those soul-searching spins. Evenings brought the unwind, family dinners with Marianne's mac and cheese, a movie night with the kids dissecting Purple Rain, Prince's North Star, or a rare night out at a Harlem jazz den, nursing ginger ale amid the smoke. His sobriety since the 2000s a hard-won harmony. Health stayed holistic. Yoga flows to loosen the creative knots. A pescatarian lean. Fish tacos a Richmond ritual. And therapy steady beat to unpack fame's fractures. Arrests in the 2000s for DUI and possession a way up that pulled him from the abyss. Travel was the tour's whisper. Low-key jaunts to Europe for festivals like Montreux, where he'd vanish into the crowd post-set, or family escapes to the Caribbean for beachside brainstorming. Philanthropy flickered quietly, nods to Black mental health orgs, inspired by his own shadows, and support for Richmond youth music programs, echoing the church choirs that birthed him. Politically charged yet private, he wove social justice into Black Messiah's weave, Ferguson's fire fueling the charade. But lived it light, volunteering at local gigs without the ego trip. It was a life of lush limits, the thunder of applause yielding to the hush of home, where fortune favored the feels over the flash, and every ad-lib affirmed the soul's slow burn. But the stories, those velvet vignettes that capture D'Angelo's depth, the prodigy whose Pentecostal purity hit a playful fire, turning studio standoffs into soul-stirring gold. Remember Brown Sugar's birth. At 21, holed up in Sadiq's Oakland basement, he'd battle beats till dawn, quipping to Angie over takeout. This ain't sugar, it's the sweat of the spirit, birthing a neo-soul blueprint that had Questlove dubbing him the Black Hendrix. Or Voodoo's video shoot, that shadowy striptease for Untitled, a bold bid to reclaim his body from the male gaze, only for MTV to blur it amid backlash. He'd laugh it off later with Jay Dilla over blunts. They censored the soul. I censored nothing. Family flashes warmed deepest, penning Really Love on Black Messiah while Mikey strummed nearby, the boys' innocent riffs weaving into the track, D'Angelo whispering, "You're the real hit, kid," or Richmond reunions with Luther Sr. Dad preaching over dinner while son played piano hymns, a full circle that mended the prodigal pull. He'd chuckle about dropping out at 18, school was straight lines, music's the curve, or that 2014 surprise drop, mailing vinyls to fans from a hideout, Questlove texting, "You ghosted the game, then ghosted back a Ghostbuster. Regrets?" The hiatus-haunted fame fried my filter, but he spun it into Black Messiah's blaze, owning the alcoholism arrests as the devil's detour to divine detours. Even in 2025, teasing that companion piece with Sadiq, he DM'd Jay-Z, "One more verse for the voiceless." Tributes today from premieres, "Gonna Miss You So Much" to Oceans, the blueprint we all blueprint from. Pour like a playlist on repeat, his $1 to $2 million a whisper next to the revolutions he remixed, the hearts he harmonized, the way his groove still gets us good. As we let D'Angelo's eternal echo fade into that infinite after-party, from Richmond revivals to neo-soul nirvana, I hope it stirs the sensualist in you. A spin of Lady, to toast the Titan, a deeper draw on your own hidden harmonies, or simply holding your circle closer amid the chords. He alchemized Aiken to anthem, proving soul's the sexiest sacrament. If his velvet touched you, hit like to keep the riff rolling, and subscribe for more spotlights on the souls who soundtrack our spirits. What's your D'Angelo deep cut? Thanks for the session, feel it all, and take care.